Welcome back to another video. If you're new here, my name is Linda and I make videos about living and studying in Canada for international students and immigrants. If you're not new here and you subscribe and you're part of the family, welcome back, and thank you so much for supporting the channel. So in today's video, I am going to be sharing 5 financial tips for new graduates. And before we begin, please do not forget to hit the subscribe button or like the video if you enjoy it. Otherwise, let's get into the video. Tip number 1 is have a budget. Have a spending plan, a budget, whatever you want to call it. And you know, my thing is, when it comes to budgeting, is the government, the central bank, they have a budget. Companies all have a budget. So why don't you have a budget? It doesn't make sense. Like, if you don't have a budget, can you comment down below and let me know why? Like why? Why don't you have a budget? I don't get it. So without saying too much, have a budget. Why? Because you will be able to know how much of your money is coming in and how much of your money is being spent away. That way you can plan more, because you understand how much money you're gaining per month or whatever, and then how much money you are spending. So number 1 is to definitely start creating a budget if you haven't yet. Financial tip number 2 would be to audit your financial products. So what does this mean? For example, when I graduated, before I graduated, I had a student bank account with a specific bank. I'm not gonna say their name, but I had a student account, and then as soon as I graduated, they sent me an email and they were like, hey, we noticed that you're no longer a student, so you don't qualify for the student bank account, but don't worry, we have upgraded you to a different bank account and it has similar features as the student account. So obviously when I read this email, I was like, yeah, cool, like great. If it has the same features as the student bank account, I won't have to worry about fees or anything. And then later I was checking through my bank account and I realized actually the account had student bank account features for a year. So it was actually a promotion, and they didn't tell me this in the email. So actually I would have used the account for a year, and then after a year it would have bank fees. And when I was looking, I realized if I had to choose a bank account, since I don't qualify for student bank account, I would have never chosen that bank account. So it's very important to just, audit is maybe too formal of a word, but just look at the financial products that you have, whether it's a credit card, a debit card, whatever else you have that is a financial product, and have a look and see if it still makes sense. Why? Because sometimes there are hidden fees. There might be like some sort of upgrade that the bank will do and will not let you know. So just make sure that you're not spending money on a financial product that you're not really using, especially if you're a student, because it's easier to sign up for stuff as a student. Usually there's student rates, but once you graduate, some things might have to be upgraded, and so it's just good to keep track and audit your financial products. Number 3 would be to have a savings account. Now the thing about saving is it's important to have a savings goal. This could be the saving amount, Preferably if it's a saving amount, that's better, but you could also just save for something. So I'm saving for college, I'm saving for a holiday, I'm saving for whatever. That's how saving usually works. If you don't have a goal or a specific thing you're saving for, it's more difficult to keep up with your savings plan. So that's the first thing, is have a savings goal. A very simple and very common, actually a must-have savings fund is something called an emergency savings fund. And basically what it is in a savings fund, if you budget, again, I'm going back to my first point, if you budget, you will know how much you spend on your cost of living per month. That way you could start saving an amount equivalent to that, and you could use that money for a rainy day. So emergency saving funds are usually used for a rainy day. Say for example, you lose your job, God forbid, you lose your job, and so you need some sort of income to cover your monthly spending. But if you actually have an emergency savings fund, you can then use that money to cover you for that month. Usually what financial advisors will advise is to save an emergency savings fund for 3 months. So let's say your monthly costs are $1,000, so you would save $3,000 and you would put it in a savings account. The other important thing is to make sure that it's a savings account that is liquid, I think that's the word, but basically it should be a savings account that you can withdraw money from at any time, because some savings accounts get locked until you meet like the maturity date or the criteria of that savings fund. So when you open one, make sure it's one that you can always withdraw money from. So financial tip number 4 is have more than one income stream, especially if you live in, an expensive city like Vancouver. It's kind of difficult to sort of sustain your cost of living with just one source of income. So if you can get more than one income stream, that would be great. The other thing that's super important is if you've just graduated and you're looking for jobs and then you get a job offer, don't be afraid to negotiate your salary. So have that conversation with the HR person. Usually they'll ask you in the interview process, like, oh, what do you think, like, what do you project your salary to be? Don't be shy, hey? Just like name the number that you need to survive this very expensive city. Don't be shy, and also obviously get more than one job or start a business or anything that you think can give you income, so that you're not just surviving on your job. Number 5, this is actually very, very important, is minimize your expenses. I think when you graduate, it's very, very easy to get caught up sort of with the whole, I've graduated, so I need, people must know I must live in an apartment now, I must not live in a dorm room, or I must not live in a basement. It's easy to just want to upgrade your life so that, you feel better, because you are better, you've graduated, you have a degree now. But be careful, because I would rather live in some sort of housing situation with other students and not like choose to move to an apartment just because I've graduated and like I make more money. Don't do that. Don't fall for that trap. Don't sabawell things too quickly, right? Just pace it up, and take things at a slow pace. Don't get too excited because now you have graduated and you want people to know. People must know, because how will they know? But so lifestyle inflation, don't do it. Okay, so number 6 is a bonus point, especially because a lot of international students, we tend to come from countries that are, that just their governments are not as reliable as the Canadian government. I personally think the Canadian government is one of the most reliable, or at least is one of the good examples of like, this is what a government is supposed to do for its people generally. So I feel like a lot of us come from sometimes, you know, government systems where the tax system is not that reliable and so on and so forth. So, but in Canada, I think it is important to pay your taxes, because if you pay your taxes and you pay your taxes every year, some years you will get a tax refund. And you know, sometimes that money comes on months when I'm really like, I'm thinking to myself, I could really use an extra $200, and then boom, I will get my tax refund. So do your taxes. Don't you know, don't skip your tax filing stuff. That's all I had in terms of financial tips for new graduates in Canada. If you have watched the video up until this point, please do not forget to give it a thumbs up, and please subscribe to the YouTube channel. It helps the YouTube channel grow, and it also helps to let the YouTube algorithm know that like people are watching this content, and yeah, and it's just a nice way to support the channel. So if you've watched up until this point, thank you so much for watching, and I hope you guys found this video helpful, and I will see you guys on the next video. Bye.